You're listening to the Marketing Funnel Show, Episode 1. Today, we're diving into how to easily make more sales without being salesy. Welcome to the Marketing Funnel Show. I'm your host, Michelle Evans, and this is the podcast for coaches, experts, and online business owners to learn how to go from simply surviving to sold out using the power of marketing funnels. All right, let's jump into today's show. Hey, welcome to the Marketing Funnel Show. I'm Michelle Evans, and I help you attract more clients than you can handle with the power of automated marketing funnels. Even if the thought of selling makes you want to binge eat chocolate in your yoga pants, hello, I've done that. Even if you're thinking that marketing funnels are too complicated or too techy, and even if you're not sure what the heck a marketing funnel actually is. Honestly, once you discover the power in marketing funnels, you will wonder why you ever wasted time on all the other confusing, costly, and really super disappointing marketing approaches that are out there. And today we're tackling a big, sticky issue for many entrepreneurs. How to make more sales without being salesy. So let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered how the heck successful business owners are constantly making sales and getting new customers? I know when I first started my business full-time in January of 2012, that was like my number one question is like, how do people have time to get out there and get business and also do the work of the business that they got out there and got? And for a long time, I was like, I would be in this roller coaster of feast and famine. Like I'd get tons of clients and then I'd be so busy working with clients that I would stop looking for new clients and I'd just do the client work. And then pretty soon I'd be down to zero. And then I'd have to go ramp up and get more clients. And I was like, how do people do this? How do they just constantly have people coming in? Because I don't know about you, but there is nothing worse than wondering at like 3 a.m. in your bed where your next client's going to come from, right? It's like it suddenly becomes this thought that just takes over everything. I also hated not feeling confident in knowing what I would make each month. It's hard to plan and budget. It's hard to decide to take a vacation or, buy a car if you need it, that kind of stuff when you don't know how much you're going to be making each month. And I know, especially when I first started, I didn't know where to find clients. Like I was really lucky that I had a bunch of people referred to me straight out of the gate when I started my business. But I was like, all right, when these are gone, then what? Like, where do I go? Who are these magical people that are out there? And lots more stuff, right? It's just when you have your business, you have no business if you don't have clients. And so this is kind of the crux of getting your business is like, how do you make more sales? And it's also the number one question and pain that I get from my audience is, how do I have a more consistent customer client sales flow in my business without bankrupting me on things like, outsourcing and ads and all that stuff? And also without it sucking up all my time and energy. I talked to somebody recently who had not had a day away from her business in more than 6 months. Like, that's crazy. You cannot, at least for me, like I have to have some downtime every once in a while to recharge, right? I just can't work all the time. And so we're going to be talking about that exact topic on this show. How to have a system so that you're constantly getting clients in the door, how to make sales without being salesy, and just all the things that go into having a successful online business like with your marketing funnel. So we're going to be diving deep into that. In this episode, we're just going to be touching on one piece of it, but there's a lot to pull apart. So if you've ever had that wonder of like, how do I get more clients? How do I consistently get clients? How do I make more sales without having to be super salesy? This is the right show, the right podcast for you, because we're going to dive deep into the topic in this show and in this podcast. And If that sounds interesting and useful and helpful in your business, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share it, be sure to leave a review on iTunes, because I want to make sure that this information, this free, valuable information, gets in front of people who can really use it, people like you. All right, because I wish that somebody would have told me this when I first started my business. It would have saved me a lot of headache and heartache and, stress and worry and 3 a.m. like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next kind of things. Because successful business owners, successful online business owners especially, know a little secret about running an online business, and it has nothing to do with spending all your money on ads or high-priced coaches or crazy expensive sponsorships, which, by the way, I've done all of those things. Nope, it's a lot simpler and a lot more available than that. But we'll get into what we're going to do instead in just a minute. First, I want to take you down a kind of painful trip down memory lane so you can understand why marketing funnels are so important to me. So I launched my full-time business in January of 2012. And for the first year, I did a lot of coaching and a lot of consulting. But I kept, hearing people just dangle this carrot of, hey, you could have, passive income coming in. You could be making money in your sleep. You've heard them all, right? I read the 4-Hour Work Week, and I just thought, wow, there's so much available out there, and I just need to put together a course to make this happen. And before I left my job, I worked at Microsoft, and part of what I was doing there was running a bunch of programs for the Microsoft Marketing University, which was, working with some of the top MBA schools and professors at those schools and putting together training programs for marketers at Microsoft. And I was like, I know how to teach. I can do this. And I was selling workshops at Microsoft, and I just felt like this is a no-brainer. I could just put together the workshops that I do at Microsoft, just put it into an online format, record some stuff, and easy as that, right? I can wipe my hands and walk away, and I'll be having money flooding in even while I'm sleeping. Well, fast forward to June of 2013. So at that point, I had been in my business for about 18 months. And I launched this first course. I felt like I had taken a lot of time to figure it out. I'd gone through some training courses online, and I was like, I can totally do this. And so I took the live workshop that I delivered in person, and I put it together into an online workshop, just like what a lot of people out there tell you to do. The problem is that, well, there were a lot of problems, but the problem was that I hadn't done any audience building. I had not done any surveys of people to see, do they even want to learn about this? At that time, I was doing career coaching. Do they even want to learn about this online? I hadn't made a name for myself. I was basically going from doing these things in person and getting great results for people in person, but companies were paying for it, to trying to turn around and take that exact same strategy and sell to strangers online. And I thought that it would just magically come together and I would be able to magically be making sales. And it did not work like that. And I am going to be honest with you, I was devastated because I had spent months, I felt like learning, trying to figure out the technology, trying to figure out how to do Facebook ads. I had spent months on the skills that I thought that I needed to be able to launch that course. And then when it launched, I, honest to goodness, could not even give it away. I had people in corporate, clients of mine who I'd worked with one-on-one, and I was like, hey, do you know anybody who would take this course? And everybody's like, they would look at the page and be like, no, that doesn't sound interesting. It sounds like a lot of work. And, I can look back and kind of I don't know, have a good humor about it now. But at the time, it was devastating. I was like, like this was the first big failure that I had run into in my business. And I was like, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur? Does it mean that I suck? Does it mean that I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, people don't like me, like all those thoughts just started racing through my head because I was like, good God, I can't even give this thing away. Like, what is going on? And I tried for probably about 6-7 weeks to sell it, which looking back, I'm like, okay, there's the number one problem. Like, I wasn't a success straight out of the gate, and I just sort of tucked tail and ran away for the hills and didn't try to figure out what would make it work. We can talk about that later. But just deep down, like emotionally, this was a really hard thing for me. I felt like a failure and a fraud, and it felt awful to me. And I was like, what is going on? I'm following the advice of so many really successful people out there. What am I missing? So if you've ever had anything where you're like, I thought that I did it all, I put it out there and it's crickets, like nobody wants this. I have to tell you, my friend, I have been there, and it took me probably 3-4 months to pull myself out of the funky funk of feeling sorry for myself, like hiding, binge eating chocolate in my yoga pants. Like I use that all the time in my marketing because I have been there. And just, I don't know, just trying to figure out, like, am I good enough for this? That's probably the number one thought that ran through my head. And you may have experienced this at some time in your business. And if you haven't, you probably, you're just lucky. Like, because I know most people who've been out there trying to put things out there have come up against an obstacle that makes them question everything. And I'm gonna be honest, like looking back, I can see about 200 mistakes that I made, no joke. I didn't know who my audience was. I had not established rapport. I did not do a good job trying to even understand what the market wanted. I didn't know what the conversations were that were happening online. I just felt like, build it and they will come, and people would come flocking into my course and be throwing money at me left, right, and center because I had bought into the glitz of the ideas that a lot of people talk about, but I hadn't done the foundational work. And I want to save you from going through that because it was really hard and really depressing and really frustrating for me. And I really almost threw in the towel on even having my own business. I almost went back to just having a job because I felt so bad about myself. So I want to save you from that because I'm so glad I didn't because I have learned so much since then. A lot through, courses and mentors and coaches and various people that I've, peers and stuff that I've met and worked with over the years. But also a lot from just trial and error. Like, does this really work? Does that really work? What's going on? And now I'm so happy to say that I did go through that experience because I have people come to me all the time and say, Michelle, my funnel's not working. Or Michelle, I can't figure out how to consistently get clients. Or Michelle, nobody wants to buy my product, my program, my service. Can you help me figure it out? And I can go, well, yes. And trust me, this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with where your foundation is. And that's what really appeals to me about marketing funnels. And here's what I discovered. I only needed, and you only need 3 things to have more clients than you know what to do within your business. Number 1 is the right traffic. You need to know where people are hanging out looking for what you offer. And that is the number 1 mistake that I made. I had no idea where people were hanging out that were looking for my offer. So I was like talking to no one, right? The second thing is I needed a marketing funnel experience. I needed a funnel experience for my traffic to become interested and pay attention to what I had to offer. So, I was trying to send people straight from a Facebook ad to buy my thing with nothing in between. And it just doesn't work like that, my friends. It does not work like that. Unless you're selling something, I guess I shouldn't say it never works like that. If you're selling something that's very inexpensive, it can work like that. Like, recently I bought my husband a gift from a Facebook ad because it was funny and clever and less than $20, right? So it can work like that if you have something that's that's easy to buy. But the thing is that I was trying to sell something that was $997. Nobody knew me. I didn't have any testimonials for the course. Like, I was just this complete newbie saying, hey, check this out, click on this ad and buy my thing. And it just doesn't work like that. I needed a funnel to help people, get to know me, get to know what I could do for them, get to know why this course would be beneficial and interesting. Like, a marketing funnel just sets the stage so that when you make your sales offer, people are like, oh yeah, I can see why that's beneficial to me. And that's actually a really great offer that speaks right to what I need. And then the third thing is I needed an offer that matched up with the marketing funnel experience. So again, I didn't have a funnel at that time. I was just like, here's a Facebook ad, here's a product I'm going to sell, let's see how much I can sell. And it just didn't work, right? But if I had a marketing funnel, I would need to make sure that the marketing funnel actually got people ready and excited and interested in what I was trying to sell. Because that's actually something that I see a lot when people come to me and say, hey, my marketing funnel is not working. I see that a lot, that the funnel experience is not connected to what the offer is. And so people are ready for something else. But I'll talk more about that in another episode. And I have to be really honest with you, I'm not good at sales. I've never considered myself a salesperson, and I've got a lot of stories about why that is that I'll save for another podcast. But, I spent 16 years in the corporate world. I didn't have to sell anything except for, show up for a job interview. But I didn't have to sell a product or a service or anything like that. And so when I jumped into my business, I was like, how do you even have these kinds of sales conversations? And, I would try to have sales conversations with people who were not ready to buy from me, who didn't know who I was, who didn't know why, what I had to offer was interesting to them. And so, I had that to contend with as well. And you may feel that way as well. Like, I don't love sales, or maybe you do love sales. I don't know. But I can tell you that when you put a marketing funnel in place that gets people warmed up, that gets people to be like, oh, I know who you are. I understand the problems that you're talking about. Those sound like problems I have. I want some of these, things that you're talking about, like dreams that I have, or, I think about one that a funnel that I recently went through for a keto diet. And it was, the person was sharing their story and how they'd searched all over the place. I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. And then talked about how it was so hard to eat under other diet plans because everything was so restricted. I was like, oh, you totally get me. And, it just kept going like that. And so when the offer was made, I was like, and yes, because I was already totally bought into who this person was. You can do the same thing for your business. It is so incredibly different to have a sales offer or a sales conversation with somebody when they're leaning forward and going, what do you got for me? Versus leaning back with their arms crossed like, what are you trying to sell me? Right? It's a really different thing. And that's why marketing funnels are so, so valuable. And now I have a lot of sales coming in because just like all the other successful business owners out there online, I fell in love with the number one thing that we need to be successful. And that is marketing what I have to sell in a really strategic way. Because marketing funnels, they're your silent salespeople. Behind the scenes, they're working to warm up your traffic. They're working to connect with people, to help them feel like, your emails or your videos or your webinars or, whatever it is that you're providing are really meant for them, and warm them up so they're ready to buy from you. And when a marketing funnel is done right, they make sales an absolute breeze. I am telling you, because I'm not a great salesperson, because people already know they want to buy. A lot of times I'll get on the phone and people will be like, just tell me, Michelle, how much is it going to cost to work with you? Because they're just waiting for the right offer. And I want that for you too, because it's a really different place to be when people are like, I totally get who you are. I totally get what you offer. I totally get the value for me. Now let's just figure out how we can work together, or how I can buy from you. So if you want to know which marketing funnel is right for you and your business, because you're probably wondering like, what the heck is a marketing funnel? How could this work for my business? I'll tell you, every single kind of business can use a marketing funnel. I've done marketing funnels for accountants. I've done marketing funnels for doctors. I've done marketing funnels for coaches, for consultants, for speakers, for people with physical products, for people having events. Like, there's a marketing funnel for your business. And I've put together a really easy, quick, free, easy quiz to help you figure out which funnel's right for you. So you can head on over to today's show notes, which is at themarketingfunnelshow.com/1. And in less than 5 minutes, you'll know exactly which funnel is right for you. In fact, I'll even give you some free training. I have a little video that goes with each of the different kinds of funnels. So you'll get access to that by taking the quiz totally for free. All right, last thing today. Again, I want to spread this free, valuable podcast to more people just like you. So if this was valuable for you, if you can say, yeah, I want to know more about marketing funnels, I want you to break it down for me bit by bit so that I can start to see how this could work for me and my business, will you take just 3 minutes? Pop on into iTunes to rate the podcast and write a review, and then share it with just one other person who can use it. Your voice, your vote helps tremendously in showing iTunes that this podcast is worth ranking in iTunes and showing to other people, which helps other people find it as well. So again, if you wouldn't mind just popping into iTunes, doing it real quick, it doesn't take very long. Just give it a rating and a review. I am so excited to kick this off and really start teaching a lot more about marketing funnels. All right, I'll see you on the next episode.